Yeah, this is the guy right here. He said he had people following him for years, like almost what 20 years or some shit like that. He said he had people try to kill him. Bro, this is crazy. This is crazy. Let's listen to him talk a
What a
little bit.
Scientology agent will do is they'll get a list of everybody you know, including your doctor, your dentist, your travel agent, whoever, your friends, your family. They will then contact every person on the list, whether directly or on the phone, and say, we're gathering information about John Atack or whoever and their criminal background. We found out some really interesting things already. I was told when
Don't sound like a
the
church.
head of their harassment division in the UK defected,
That
they'd
don't
spent
sound like no
£2
church
million
to me, bro.
harassing me up until that point. Hi, I'm John Atack. I'm an expert on Scientology. A long time ago I was a member, and I also am an expert on authoritarian cults in general, and I'm here to answer questions from the Honesty Box. What is a Scientologist and what do they believe? Scientologists are followers of a man
Yeah,
called
it's
Lafayette
crazy. That's what
Ronald
they
Hubbard,
is.
L. Ron Hubbard, and he basically devised a science fiction set of beliefs and techniques. In reality, Scientology is an elaborate system of mind control and thought reform. Scientologists believe that they have lived for 1.25 quadrillion years. The origins.
Damn. Hey, but you know what the crazy thing about it is? I'm gonna let it play.
Story
I'm
is
gonna
the
let it play.
idea that we're all individuals completely who separately came together in our multi-billions to create the universe. And we do that at every moment. So the universe is an illusion generated by the people within it, the beings within it. Core beliefs are quite elaborate, but the essential belief is that we are all gods. We all have godlike power.
Okay, now let's start right here. All right. Now, this is where I say, um, hmm, this is where I say I can, I can, I wouldn't say kind of relate to some of the beliefs, but I can understand some of the beliefs, right? Because even though I do believe in somebody higher than us, um, that makes shit happen. That makes shit happen. I do believe as um the body that we're in, like me, you watching this, you know what I'm saying? I do believe we do have the power um to control shit. You see what I'm saying? Like I do believe the power of the tongue. I do believe in that. If you say something, I do believe it's bound to happen. Or if you say, man, I can't do such and such, I do believe you will stop yourself, or you won't have the conscious mind, or the conscious power to do it. You get what I'm saying? If I'm saying that right. So and I also believe whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't give a fuck if you say, oh damn, I can walk through the air. I believe if you fucking put your mind to the level, listen, if I study levitation, right, it's no reason why I shouldn't put my mind to be able to even be able to float off the ground. Some people say Phil, but damn Phil, your ass tripping. You sound crazy as hell. But how? Think about it. This is what meditation is for. It's basically astral projecting, right? You get what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And we've lost these powers because we didn't want to hurt others. And so what Ron Hubbard promised was that he would give us magical abilities, the ability to intend whatever we want and make it happen in the world. This hasn't proved to be true. Why did you join? Because my heart was broken. I was 19 years old. I'd come back from a tour in Toulouse. I was playing drums in a band, and I came back to find my girlfriend, who I'd been living with for 15 months, had gone. And I freaked out, and I went looking for help, didn't find any.
Oh, but one thing, am I trying to force my belief on somebody else, though? No, I'm not. Am I trying to fucking create a church to force my beliefs on somebody else? No, am I not. Am I trying to charge somebody $100 fucking grand to join my church to force my belief? No, bro, I'm not trying to do that.
Anything substantially, and I went with 15 months had gone, and I freaked out, and I went looking for help, didn't find anything substantially, and then was introduced to Scientology by a book. And I went along. People were incredibly friendly, very smiley, smart people, and they seemed to have something that I wanted. And so it began. How is Scientology structured, and how do you progress through the ranks? There are two elements to Scientology. One is the staff Scientologist, and the other is the public Scientologist. Public Scientologists pay a great deal of money to undertake processing, as it's called, and indoctrination. Those are the words used. Processing, some people say, is a form of counselling. I would disagree with that. It's a form of hypnotism. The structure of Scientology is a hierarchy, very strict hierarchy. There's no democracy of any kind in Scientology. I have a man called David Miscavige who took over from Ron Hubbard after Hubbard died, and he basically determines exactly what Scientologists will do. And there are hundreds of organisations around the world, though the membership is far smaller than people would usually imagine. It's about 25,000 internationally. If you were a staff member in Scientology, you would start out as a gopher,
like this,
somebody who basically does what they're told and fetches the coffee.
This is what they spend their money on. People with no money spend their money on shit that people with money wouldn't spend their money on. I mean, that's just common sense to this shit. I had to tell somebody that the other day, bro. Bro, only broke people go and buy. Listen, bro. People with real money, they don't feel the need to have to splurge anything. They don't feel the need to have to drive around and fucking their fucking their daily driver is a fucking Rolls Royce. I mean, you know, you do got some rich people who, you know, they feel like they got what they got. They feel like they should show it off. But for the wealthy, they don't, bro. Listen, let me tell you something, right? I got a close child friend. I speak about him all the time. He'll be on screen. We was actually gonna do a stream the weekend, I think like Sunday, Saturday, or something like that. He's half German, right? His grandma German, right? His grandma, when I say this is a very, 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 very wealthy woman, right? I'll tell you this shit. This is a very wealthy woman, right? You know what what kind of car she drives? A Nissan Rogue. Not a fucking Hellcat. Not a fucking Bentley. Not a fucking, and can go out and buy this, literally. Can go out right now. As I'm talking to y'all right now, she can go right now and go buy a Ferrari if she want to. Literally. I've seen this with my own two eyes. So I know this is not nothing I'm just bullshitting with you about. Guess what? Don't stay in the mansion. You know, got a pretty decent sized house. Don't stay in the mansion. Been in the same house she been in for, I think, 30, 40 years now. Probably longer than that. So this is what I'm telling you. People with real money, bro, they don't give a fuck to be doing that. This is what they take their money and do right here. They wanna find and I'm not saying everybody, every wealthy person with money is finding a way to cause destruction. That's how I look at it. But that's just the point I'm trying to make. You see what I'm saying?
And you would then be assigned to a particular division in Scientology, and you'd work your way up until you were perhaps the head of that division, say the Treasury Division, which deals with finances, or the Public Division, which deals with recruiting. Then you have executives above that, and you have an incredibly complicated set of organisations that are all pretty much spying on one another. If you're unlucky enough, you'll rise to go and work with David Miscavige himself, who lives in a secret location to avoid process servers from the courts. He has a violent temper. He is a short man, but physically, he exercises. He fires a crossbow, we're told. He has been known to punch people when he's lost his temper.
He beat the shit out y'all ass.
He controls people.
He beating their ass up.
Very dangerous human being, and of course he has the control of Scientology's funds, which are perhaps in the region of $3 billion. So it's probably best not to get on the wrong side of him. What am I doing here?
Yeah, right.
Will you be in danger from making this video? Yes, there is some danger.
It be funny because everybody who be speaking out about shit they don't be speaking out about, they be trolling low key. That shit be funny.
I have been harassed and I've been sued many times. But hey, what the heck? Would you say you're an easily manipulated person? No. Have you ever met anybody who thinks they're an easily manipulated person? I once interviewed a young man who'd come out of Scientology, who'd been in the 14 people governing Scientology, and he said, the great thing is, John, we'll never be manipulated again. And I said, the great thing is, I know I'm gullible. I know that we are all vulnerable. But no, I'm probably less manipulable than most people, because I've spent 40 years studying the methods of manipulation and teaching people about them. What is
exactly what I just said to y'all?
And why do you sign a billion-year pledge?
That's what the fuck he's studying. That shit is bullshit.
The Sea Organization was started in 1967 by Ron Hubbard, when he was basically being chased out of pretty much all of the English-speaking world.
That's what rich people. That's what wealthy people take their money and do. It's destruction, bro.
To international waters so he could be safe from prosecution. And he called his followers initially the Sea Project, SEA as in a body of water, and then the Sea Organization. Somebody joked to him that they ought to sign contracts that would go beyond one lifetime, as Scientology believes in reincarnation, and put forward the idea that it should be for 1 billion years. How many Scientologists are there? About 25,000 around the world now. They have claimed as many as 11 million members over the years. The last census in 2021 showed 1,800 Scientologists in the UK, which was a decline of 24%.
It's a decline?
Over 10 years leading up to it. Is Scientology a cult? Well, what's a cult? By dictionary definition, a cult is a group of people who have reverence for a particular discipline or particular leader.
That's what they are.
In those terms, yes, Scientology is a cult.
Thank you.
I would go one further. Is Scientology a dangerous cult? And from my point of view, it most definitely is. What is auditing? Originally, the word comes from to audit or listen, but it's basically a set of hypnotic procedures that are used on Scientologists to bring about states of euphoria so that they'll want to buy more. There are counselling sessions which are called auditing, where one individual will audit another individual as if they were the counsellor and the other person was the recipient of counselling. There are about 2,000 processes that are used, and they vary from straight memory questions, asking you about something that happened in the past, through to trying to get you to relive trauma, which is what was called Dianetics originally. It's a technique that was abandoned by Freud because it didn't work. It made people more dependent upon the therapist, Freud said. What is an e-meter? The e-meter is a Wheatstone bridge. It basically measures the conductivity of the skin on your hands. It's a part of the police polygraph used in the United States extensively, and it has no value whatsoever. During most forms of auditing, the auditor will have an e-meter in front of them, which has a dial with a needle on it, and that is connected to electrodes, which are usually soup cans, or conventionally were, and that measures the electrical resistance on your skin, on your hands. In fact, the movements in your sweat glands, they're not sweat itself. And
What the fuck? So it's not even
the needle will move according to the questions that you're asked. And there are
Well, I guess it was
a number of different needle movements
But when
that's
I think
supposed
of
to indicate.
e-meter, I think of like paranormal. You know what I'm saying? Like spirit. You know what I mean?
Something. What are the OT levels? OT stands for operating thetan, and the word thetan is the being, the soul, the spirit, the self. The whole idea of Scientology is that you can become an operating thetan. You are a thetan, you are a being, but you're trapped inside your body.
Yeah, that's.
And using Scientology, you'll be able to exteriorize from your body.
Right. Astral projection.
Make things happen at a distance. Your intention will be roused up so that you are capable of performing miracles.
Yeah.
If you wanted to blow a planet up, you could do it.
Yeah.
These are the kind of stories that are told. The reality is, and I've interviewed more than 1,000 Scientologists over the years, nobody achieves any of these abilities.
Duh!
You go through a set
What
of
the fuck? Duh! Yeah, motherfucker, you thinking you goddamn suit? You think you actually God himself? Get the fuck out of here.
Procedures, by my reckoning at the moment, there are 28 levels on Scientology's bridge, and you go through those step by step. By the time I left, I'd done 25 of them, so I'd finished the 5th operating thetan level. The great secret is that you're not meant to know that you're inhabited by millions of little beings, and you have to get rid of them. So it's primarily a modern form of demon exorcism.
I bet.
And it is ineffectual. If they were able, if they did have these powers, then obviously they'd be aware of what I'm doing now and would be able to stop me from speaking. It hasn't happened in 40 years. Should Scientology be classed as a religion? I would personally abstain on the question because I think it's up to people to decide what their religion is. Should it have special privileges on a religious basis, for example, tax exemption? Absolutely not. It's harmful to the community, so it should not have such benefits. There are places in the world, particularly the United States, where Scientology has tax exemption. It's exempt from certain taxes in this country as well. So you're paying for them, basically. How does Scientology
I bet you paying for everything.
handle criticism
This is crazy.
of the cult? It uses a procedure called fair game, which is to say that if you're opposed to Scientology, you do not deserve to live, and everything can and may be done to silence you. I was harassed on a daily basis for 16 years.
So now just imagine that. Imagine that. Now imagine you going to church, right? And you stop going to church, and the pastor seeing the goddamn what you call that shit? Man, I ain't been to church in a long time, y'all. I forget, but the deacons and the goddamn what's the people called? Damn, man, y'all, my bad. I'm a Christian, man. I ain't been to church in a long time. Y'all gotta excuse me, cause I don't believe in I believe, you know what I'm saying. I ain't gonna speak too deep on it, but I know for sure the Bible didn't tell me that I had to go to a church just to praise him, just to thank him, just to talk with him. You know what I'm saying? I give it to you in that form. You understand what I'm saying? So I haven't been to church in like probably I don't think I've been to church in like might be like no, because I think I went when I came back. I think when I went back home, I went to church. So probably about 8 years, probably about eight 9 years, something like that. It's been like 8-9 years since I've been to church. But just imagine, right? Just imagine, right? You stop going to your church and your pastor send the deacons and the motherfucking communion people and who the people that stand at the door. Y'all know what I'm trying to talk about though. Imagine he or she send them after you because you said you ain't want to go to her church no more. But this is a church. This is church now. This is church. Man, cut this shit out, bro.
Years after I left Scientology and spoke out. There's a process called noisy investigation. It's written up in Scientology and approved by Ron Hubbard. And what a Scientology agent will do is they'll get a list of everybody you know, including your doctor, your dentist, your travel agent, whoever, your friends, your family. They will then contact every person on the list, whether directly or on the phone, and say, we're gathering information about John Atack or whoever, and their criminal background. We found out some really interesting things already. I had this done to me, and my mother-in-law, one of my brothers-in-law, decided to talk to the private detective who'd been sent over from Los Angeles. He travelled as far as Australia to find people who'd known me. It was put about that I was a recovered heroin addict. I've never taken heroin in my life. I was a rapist. I'd attempted murder. I'd molested children. These are standard stories.
Now, y'all, this is what the people telling his own family about him.
The head of the harassment division in the UK defected after a conversation with me. And she told me that they'd spent £2 million harassing me up until that point. It was incredibly destructive. It took me 17 years to recover my physical health. All through litigation, they sued me in America, they sued me here, and through legal costs I was bankrupted. My marriage fell apart, my health came apart. It took me about 17 years to get back to a place where I could
I bet it did,
stand up again. What is the Celebrity Centre? The Celebrity Centre was started by a woman called Yvonne Gillam, who became Yvonne Gensch in Los Angeles in the 1970s. And the target was to find celebrities, recruit celebrities, and use them to promote Scientology. That's how John Travolta and Chick Corea and quite a lot of other people became involved. It's worth saying that as many celebrities as they've managed to keep hold of, they've also lost. So Van Morrison, for example, and Leonard Cohen were both briefly involved in Scientology. There is a rule in Scientology that if you upset a celebrity, then you are in trouble. So these people are treated with kid gloves. What happens to children inside the church? That's variable. If you are born to a family who are public Scientologists, then you may have a fairly normal upbringing in that you'll be in society and you'll go to an ordinary school. But you may also go to a Scientology school where the principles of Scientology will be used in your education. This is not very effective. I've spoken to children.
How do you even learn that shit though? You know what I'm saying? Like how do you so you don't learn about 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, E, Ola. So you don't learn about none of that shit. You just sit and learn manipulation all day. I mean, this shit is crazy to me, bro. The shit that wealthy people do is just crazy to me, bro. It's so crazy because it's like, it sounds like that, but it's so crazy because it's so much other knowledge that's mixed into the shit that you wouldn't get from just going to school. You wouldn't get from just growing up with your parents. You know what I'm saying? And it's real knowledge. It's conspiracy theory. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro. It's wild. It's wild, bro.
Adults now who grew up in this organisation, where there'd be one adult looking after 8 children.
This is shit you gotta think about. That motherfuckers ain't think about why they worrying about. I'm going to the hood. I'm going to post up in the hood every day, or I want them new J's that came out last night. Bro, get the fuck out of here. We dealing with motherfuckers like with knowledge like this, but you worried about some fucking new shoes every time. You worried about goddamn, bro. You don't even got $800 in your fucking bank account. I can see if you had $800 in your bank account and you were struggling. You don't even got $800 in your bank account and you struggling. You struggling, and you talking about you about to go get some new J's. Get the fuck out of here.
Children, about 50% of the kids who grow up in Scientology will leave. By the time they're 16, they will not want to stay. Quite a lot are thrown out if they cause any sort of trouble. That they'll just be got rid of. What is a silent birth? In Scientology, it's expected that women will give birth without making a noise. Hubbard put forward the idea that if we're knocked unconscious, or during unconsciousness, we're still recording what's being said around us, and this can act in a kind of moronic way through the hypnotic mind, what he called the reactive mind. And so he put forward the idea that birth should be in silence so that the baby doesn't receive what he called engrams, these traumatic memories. It's a nonsense, because the reality is, and we know this, that we don't register memories when we're unconscious. We're not physically capable of it. It's demonstrated by, if you ask a boxer who's been knocked out what happened in the 10 seconds up to him being knocked out, he won't remember. Do you have to pay to be a member?
Nah. See, he shifted the thought on that though. I get what he's saying though. Like, you would rather have your baby water birth in the crib than you would rather have it at the hospital. You get what I'm saying? Because in the crib, water birth in the crib, you got, it's much more peace, you know what I'm saying? You vibing with just you and your mama. You ain't, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got lights all in your face and motherfuckers yelling all around you and chaotic in womb development. You get what I'm saying? I get that, because when you in womb, you can hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? You can hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you can hear that shit. You know what I mean? You moving around, you kicking, you can hear. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of get that. I kind of it's not I can't agree with that. That say it's nonsense, because I kind of get where he was going with it. Now where he went with it, when he said what he said, he shouldn't have said it like that, because maybe that ain't what he was meaning. But on the way where he said it, where I'm saying it, I can get that. I get that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got then the mama, she got to get shit stuck up her back. You know what I'm saying? So y'all women know how it is. If y'all women, y'all watching this, you're a girl, you watch this, you had a baby, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I can get that. So that's why I say it's relatable, but the other shit that they talk about, they going to the farthest extent. You know what I'm saying? You going to the farthest extent to try to push what the fuck you know what I'm saying? You trying to push this shit. No, bro.
And if yes, how much? Yes, you either go and work for them 90 hours a week on a rice and beans diet where you're no longer allowed to have children, you're forced to have abortions, in fact, these days, or if you've got the money, you pay for it. And the prices are very variable because you pay by the hour. To get through all of Scientology, you're probably talking in the region of £500,000 now to get to the level that I got to. I didn't pay that much. There's a prohibition on free Scientology. The idea is if you're given something for free, you won't appreciate it, so you should be charged. At the moment, I'm not sure what their highest price is, probably about $500 an hour to sit in one of their sessions. Recruiting is free. Once you've been recruited,
look how he laughed.
they'll sell
Hey, look how he laughed when he said it. Look. Look how he laughed when he said it.
Recruiting is free.
Hey, that's the look of, yeah. Recruiting free, yeah. Don't torment your life.
Once you've been recruited, they'll sell you a £5 or £10 course, And they'll say, we've got lots of these courses, you don't have to do the expensive courses. But as soon as they can, they'll put you into a hard sell situation. And the presumption, you just force somebody through to the next level. I've met people who borrowed hundreds of thousands of pounds so they could do Scientology, and then found they couldn't repay it. And of course, they'd be told by the registrar or salesperson, Scientology will increase your abilities so much that you'll be able to earn this money in no time. It's not true. I met one guy who'd spent $400,000 in a week.
Damn.
And at the end of the week was admitted to a hospital with a heart attack. I'd probably have a heart attack if I'd spent that much money. What do you know about Shelley Miscavige? Shelley Miscavige is David Miscavige's lawful wife. She went missing years ago.
I bet she did.
Nobody knows where she is.
I bet they don't.
She's not made an appearance in years.
I bet.
The journalist Tony Ortega has been trying to find her. And as yet, we have no idea where she is. She is one of the disappeared. Is there a uniform? Now, this is coming from somebody who wants to join me. If it's a good uniform, I'll get in. There is a uniform. It's the US Coast Guard's uniform, in fact. So not very exciting. Members of the Sea Organisation wear this uniform. So they also wear campaign ribbons, which is against the law in this country and in the United States, but nobody prosecutes them for it. They're not actually for having fought battles or been wounded or anything. Can you be a Christian and a Scientologist? No.
No, they just
Hubbard
weird. They weird
frequently
as hell.
said that you could practice any religion and be
That's
a
what the fuck
Scientologist.
that
But you
is.
can, of course, only practice it if you believe in reincarnation, if you believe you've lived on other
Exactly.
planets, and if you're willing to accept, as you get further into Scientology, that Hubbard dismisses Christ as an implant. Christ is a hypnotic invention. There never was a Christ, according to Hubbard.
But this is church! I thought this was a church! Oh my God, these people are crazy, bro.
Also says that heaven is a fabrication and that the crucifixion and Christ is just a control mechanism. At the very end of his life, he released and it only came out 2 years after he died, and only a handful of people saw it. But he wrote a thing where he claimed that he was himself the Antichrist. So if you're a Christian and you want to get into something that was developed by the Antichrist, then maybe. Is it true they record sessions and blackmail you with them? Yes, all auditing sessions are recorded.
Bro, this is crazy
In fact,
shit
nowadays
ever,
they're
bro.
often
This is
filmed.
wild.
Blackmail you with them? Yes, that has happened. Whether it still happens, I don't know. But there certainly have been cases where things that were given in the greatest confidence, and you will end up saying every embarrassing thing you've ever done at some point, that will go on the record with them. I think for many people it's just the threat that it may be revealed. Many people have come to me over the years and said they had a terrible experience with Scientology and they'd love to do something about it, but they don't want their children to be able to read about their sex lives when they were teenagers, something to that effect. So sometimes it's just that people are frightened it might be revealed, but there have been cases. What do you know about the Hole? The Hole was set up by David Miscavige at his secret base in Gilman Hot Springs in California. This is a huge property where you have pressure pads all around the inside of the property of the fence, and the razor wire faces inward, so you can't climb out. The Hole is placed there. It's a double trailer, so 2 mobile home sections, and Miscavige started putting his executives into it when they annoyed him. Mike Rinder, in his book Billion Years, says that at peak there were 140 Scientology executives in there, sharing 2 toilets and being allowed to go to the shower for 30 seconds a day or something in another building. I think it ran for 8 years, and all of the top executives.
Y'all know what we fucking with today. What we got? We got them classics. Them classics. Them what I say? Them, what the fuck? That bitch say ethereal. them ethereals.
of Scientology. They'd be taken out to go to public meetings with their uniforms on, then they go back to be in the hole because Miscavige was displeased with them. It's Scientology's gulag. The problem, if law enforcement become involved, is if they say to you, you know, are you here of your own free will? And you say yes, then there's nothing much they can do.
I better say no.
And if you say no,
They
you'll
gonna
be thrown
kill
out of Scientology
Yeah, then
forever.
they gonna kill your ass.
So it was said the largest raids in the history of the FBI were in
you gonna say
Scientology
no?
in July 1977.
You know what they'll do.
And Lawrence Wright, in Going Clear, wondered why was it that the people who are in the prison detention force, the rehabilitation project force, why didn't they just leave? And he not understood that this is not an ordinary situation. They knew that if they left, they would be labelled as suppressive persons and would not be allowed to continue in Scientology. So the amount of programming is very profound. Are you ashamed of your past? No.
Nah, man.
I wasn't a living member of Scientology. Nobody that I recruited into Scientology is still with it. And a few thousand people have left because of me. There are people who did awful and brutal things in Scientology, and you know, while we can say, you know, I was manipulated, I wasn't in control of what I did, and that is a fair point, I think we all have to take responsibility for what we've done frequently and normally.
And that's why I say, and that's why I always tell y'all, you know what I'm saying, I don't never regret shit. If I could go back, I'd do it all over again. Would I do it maybe in a slightly different way? Yeah. But would I go back and do all this shit over again? I sure would do it just how I did it again. Because that's what made me. You understand what I'm saying? That's what taught me. That's what made me realize, oh, no, I ain't going to do that. That's what made me realize, oh, no, I can't do that no more. You see what I'm saying? So, yes, I do it all over. Do I regret any of it? No, I don't regret shit. I don't regret nothing. Do I hate the decisions that I made? Do I realize I shouldn't have made some of them decisions? Yes, of course, bro. But do I regret it? Nope. I surely don't. And you shouldn't either. Don't regret shit that you done in your past life. You done did it already. It was either a lesson or a blessing. That's the way I look at it. I used to say, I ain't gonna tell y'all what I used to say. The phrase I used to say. That's my new phrase. That's what I be saying. Hey, bro, it's gonna be either a lesson or a blessing. One of the two. It can only be two of them. If you don't learn your lesson and you ain't got no blessing out of it, and you keep doing the same shit, then my friend, you ain't gonna get it. So this statement don't pertain to you. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, don't regret shit you done did in your past life, because either it was a lesson or a blessing. I'm sure you learned from it. If you watching me, you learned from it. If you watching me, you done got blessed from it. Trust me.
In the Sea organisation, people are sleep deprived. For days on end, they're forced to stay awake. There have been situations where on the rehabilitation project force, which I mentioned, the labour camp, that they're given leftover food. Now, this is in a place where rice and beans is the normal diet, so they get the leftovers. You'd often find cockroaches in the food or maggots, things like that.
No.
And you either ate that or you didn't eat. Part of that process was also what's called pig's birthing, where you would no longer be allowed a mattress. And David Miscavige reintroduced this idea. So you could be on the rehabilitation project force usually for a couple of years. You could only speak when spoken to. You had to run between your jobs. You had to wear black or a black armband to show your status. You cleaned the toilets. If you defied any order, you were told you'd have to run a lap. And you'd be working an incredibly long day. You then have the practice of overboarding that Ron Hubbard introduced in 1968, where for the slightest infraction aboard his ship during training, you would be thrown overboard.
It's crazy.
And that doesn't sound too bad. Only that would be from 25 to 40 feet high. You might not be able to swim. You'd be blindfolded. Your ankles would be tied together, and you'd be thrown into the sewage-full waters of Corfu harbour when he started this, because other boats would be letting out their human sewage into the harbour. So people had this forced upon them, and there were the people who did it to other people. How do Scientologists recruit new members? usually by word of mouth. Usually it would be a friend. But they go out on the street with a little clipboard and they ask inane questions. The ones I used were, what would you most like to be? What would you most like to do? What would you most like to have? And once you've established rapport or conversation with somebody, you ask them if they'd like a free personality test. And in they go. Do they keep people against their will? Yes, that has happened. There was a case in America where 11 Scientologists, including L. Ron Hubbard's wife, Mary Sue, were sent to prison. And one of the things they were found guilty of was false imprisonment, where they'd kidnapped a man called Michael Meisner because he was going to tell on them, and they held him captive for months. Do Scientologists prey on the vulnerable? Yes, but a specific type of vulnerable. One of the other awful things about Scientology, and something I wasn't really aware of, is that they don't recruit disabled people. Hubbard said, we're here to make the able more able. So they won't prey on people who have a psychiatric background, because that's got them into trouble in the past. They won't prey upon people.
No, that's bullshit. They don't want to prey on the people with the crazy motherfucker that's really crazy, because they want to make the motherfucker crazy. See, they don't want to make them more crazier. Yeah, they want to make the people who ain't like them. That's what that is. Yeah, let's say the real shit now. Let's not be the shit. You done told us this far this much is goddamn time. Let's goddamn keep telling the truth now. Let's not beat around the bush. We don't want to beat around the bush now. We want to make sure we go straight through that motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about?
Who are physically disabled. They really, if they can, as with any group, they want the smartest and best of people, and they get some of them. They had some quite remarkable people. The fact that a number of members of Parliament and the Senate have been Scientologists is interesting. Who did you believe you were in a past life? I wish I hadn't actually pulled this one out, because I'm going to sound stupid, but there you go. I believed I'd been Henri Matisse, the painter. I also, for a while, believed I'd been the Buddha. So, bit of a narcissist, really, what can I say? We later found that as there are millions of spirits in us, I probably could have had one of the Buddhas and one of Henri Matisse's. But what was the best part of it? Anything you miss? There was a tremendous sense of camaraderie and the idea that you were changing the world. And when you go from that to realising you're in Sainsbury's buying a bag of potatoes, yesterday I was saving the world, now I'm buying a bag of potatoes. It's a bit of a letdown. Do you have to abandon your friends and family? Only if they don't like Scientology. If somebody complains, yes, you're meant to disconnect from them. Do Scientologists believe in the afterlife? Yes, they believe in reincarnation.
Hey, the crazy part about this shit, the crazy part about this all, right? You got people spending their money on this shit. Because why? Like I said, we just looking at this shit from the outside of what he telling us. But you gotta think, when you actually in this shit and going through these conditions, you're also getting knowledge that nobody else knows in the world. See, this ain't about the coke thing. This ain't about that part. This is about, see, people go through this shit for the knowledge, bro. People spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for this knowledge, bro. That's the crazy thing about it. It ain't the fact that they didn't talk about a cult is a church. No, it ain't the fact of that. It's the fact of what they doing behind this motherfucker, what they doing in the walls of this church and shit. Boy, I got a number that keep calling me. I don't know who the fuck this is. It's really starting to get strange at this point. So yeah, bro, that's the crazy part, bro. To me,
unlike Buddhists and Hindus who have the fear of the eternal return, the wheel of suffering, it's a horrible thing to be reincarnated. This is more the new age kind of thing. Oh, I'll drop my body and then I can do it in my next lifetime, which means the suicide rate is much higher in Scientology than the world around, because people will give up and think they have another life coming. And that is my experience. Wow. Scientology has about 10 times the suicide rate.
God damn!
Of the normal population. They don't believe in heaven. Hubbard went there and said it was made from cardboard.
And this is what people will. These are the people that people will follow. It's crazy to me. Just like people follow Trump and they told him just right in front of their eyes that he'll touch their 18, 17-year-old daughter pussy. Woo! Go president, whatever kind you are, Republican or Democrat. Woo! Get the fuck out of here. It's crazy, bro. Y'all be. Don't let motherfucker tell you anything, man. Don't let nobody tell you anything, bro. This shit for real out here, bro. This shit is all an illusion, man. This shit made for your eyes. Don't let nobody trick you out here, bro. I'm telling you, y'all get so distracted and let people trick y'all, bro. This shit ain't no game. You just seen what the fuck we just watched, didn't you? We watched an hour and a half of this crazy shit. Oh, we ain't even. This is just scratching. I don't even think we even scratched the surface. I don't even think we even scratched the surface of the shit. Cause I'm about to dive deeper. Yeah, this shit crazy.